Everyone has a story to tell. It's my mission to tell it. Unscripted, unedited, we are on the record. Hi everyone, I'm Serena Fazan and welcome to this episode of On the Record. It's a show where we are so proud to talk about positive influences impacting this nation and talk about a great organization, the YMCA. It is our honor and privilege to welcome the CEO of the Tampa chapter, Matt Michel.
Oh.
Matt, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. And we met a couple of months ago and it turned into this.
Yes, it sure did. And you know, we met at a restaurant called the Meat Market in Tampa.
Yeah.
And then I said, you need to come on the record. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Flattered to be invited.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And we're flattered to have you in Tampa. Before we get into the YMCA, and I want to get into all the YMCA does on the second half of the show. In fact, we have one of your team members here that's going to talk about some of the programs.
Indeed.
Tell us about you.
Well, me, Matt Michel, born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I've been in the YMCA for about 27 years. Never expected that the YMCA was going to be a career for me, but there's certain things that you do in your career that, you fall in love with. And the YMCA presents a lot of those opportunities in front of you as a young professional. There's things that you can really dig your teeth into and really own and create. And the YMCA has been just this avenue of creativity and community impact for me that I couldn't replace with any other organization.
So Matt, you were sharing with me that you were in college. You were thinking, okay, I might go into the medical field. And then you saw some type of knee surgery and you're like, no way.
That's exactly right.
Oh my gosh. But at that time, when you were such a young man, right? And by the way, you look fantastic. We can say that on the record, right? You still look so young.
I appreciate that.
So did you ever imagine that all these years later, you would be the CEO?
No,
in a metropolitan city?
Not at all. I grew up on the south side of Milwaukee, very blue collar community, and the ceiling there was working in one of the local factories, and that's kind of like what you kind of aspired to sometimes, is to get that job that paid a good hourly wage. To think that I'd be running a community service organization like the YMCA in a city like Tampa never would have crossed my mind way back then.
So tell us your path. So you worked in Wisconsin for 17 years, I believe you said.
Indeed.
And then you went as the chief operating officer to San Antonio.
San Antonio, Texas, indeed, yeah.
And then, I loved what you said before we got into the show, that you were the underdog, right, to get this job several years ago?
It's just, Tampa's a big city, and this is a great YMCA here, and to get your first CEO job in a city like Tampa isn't very typical. So when you apply for new jobs, you talk to friends and talk to colleagues and individuals, and a lot of them said, you know what, you've never been a CEO before, you'll probably never get that job. Don't even waste your time. But I thought it's something I aspired to do, so gave it a shot, and it's all worked out so far.
So I let you answer that question because you're so humble and so modest. Before you came on the show today, we were told by several politicians that you are the best CEO. You are.
That's a lot to live up to. So it's very flattering.
Well, again, thank you so much for being here.
Indeed.
So talk to us about the YMCA. I mean, it actually started in London.
London, England in 1844. It was an avenue to get young men. It was the Industrial Revolution coming in from the rural areas into London. And there was a lot of bad stuff to get into. And there's a young man who said, well, how about I invite some of these folks to my living room and we'll just have some good, wholesome conversations and kind of the comfort of home away from home, to give people an alternative from getting involved in all the, what if there's gambling or whatever else, the drinking that was going on in town. And it grew, and it became this kind of a Bible study group that grew into other things. And the YMCA quickly started flourishing across the world and came to the States shortly after, 6, 7, 8 years later, into Boston. Then once it got to Boston, flourished throughout the United States.
That is incredible. Yeah. So then we opened the doors in Tampa at what year? 1906, did you say?
1888 was when we started programming here in Tampa.
Kind of close, not really.
It's right there. But our first facility was erected in 1906 on the corner of Florida and Zach in downtown Tampa.
So why is, you hear about the YMCA and you hear how great it is. Is it for all ages?
It's for everybody. It is. It absolutely is. Now, back in the day, it wasn't. It was a very specific group of people they were serving, but it's grown into being the organization that can touch every life throughout our community. Whether you're, we start swim lessons at 6 months old, and we have programs until you're 96 years old. So no matter who you are, or what you are, or how you worship, or how you love, or how you make your money, the YMCA is a place where you can come and be an individual, and where we care about you. You can feel that you belong there, and that you connect to your community there, because there's something for everybody at the YMCA.
And we on this show, again, is unedited and scripted, and we also like to share some personal details.
Yeah.
So I have a 15-year-old daughter named Sammy, love of my life. But at 6 months old, I did take her to the YMCA to learn how to swim, and that was probably one of the best decisions I made, I felt, as a parent, especially living in the state of Florida.
You are not joking. Hillsborough County is one of the leading counties in Florida for childhood deaths, accidental deaths through drowning. And it is shown, research shows that if you take swim lessons as a kid, it lessens your probability of drowning by around 80%.
Isn't that incredible? 80%, folks, 80%. I know.
Yeah,
I know.
It's something else, and there's, like you said, there's so much water in Florida, especially in our community, and to teach kids not only just how to swim, but how to be safe around water, how to be responsible around water, and if something bad does happen, what to do. A lot of times kids will freeze, and if you can teach kids just to run and go get somebody, that can save a life too. So there's always different levels and experiences when it comes to being safe around water, but we teach it all at the YMCA.
I know, and you teach so many programs, as you said, for all age groups, and it's very affordable. Can you talk about that, Matt, and how is it so affordable to people?
Well, like I said earlier, no matter how you make your money, it's, if you come to the YMCA and you can't afford it, we make sure that we'll sit down with you and talk about a scholarship to make it a rate that you can afford. Sometimes, this is an issue for someone who just hasn't had money, who's never had money. Sometimes it's people who had money a couple years ago, but now they don't, but they don't want to give up that resource to the YMCA. So we have our rates to the Y to join as a member. If you can afford that rate, we scholarship it. We raise scholarship monies through dollars from private individuals in the community, through fundraisers, but we reinvested almost $8 million back into the community through scholarships for programs and subsidized programs and memberships across Tampa this past year.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And I'm so, of course, as we all are, so proud of the state of Florida and Tampa specifically. I mean, I also host Unlocking Tampa Bay for Visit Tampa Bay, which is, such an honor for me.
Yeah.
How have you seen Tampa grow? And
my goodness.
Isn't it something?
Well, I came here 5 years ago, and I share this all the time with colleagues and with staff, how fortunate we are to be in Tampa Bay right now. I have friends, colleagues across this country who are talking to their staff and their board about, hey, we have to close these 3 YMCAs so we can be sustainable 5 years from now, because we just can't, because populations are shifting. A lot of people are moving from different cities, moving out of cities, moving to Florida. You hear all the time how many people are coming to our city. And we're on the other end of the spectrum. We're talking about, how many YMCAs do we build in Wesley Chapel? 2 or 3, because there's so many people coming into town. And it's so great to be on that end of innovation and engagement, and trying to figure out how can we best meet the growing needs of this community, as opposed to, what do we do to stay sustainable with the shrinking population in the community. So, when I came to Tampa, Water Street wasn't there. Channel Side was kind of coming up a little bit. Some of the apartments along the river weren't there. And the skyline is even different now in Tampa than when it was when I came here 5 years ago. And it's going to be so much different in 5 years from now, too. It's just phenomenal to be a part of a community that's so vibrant and growing like that.
I know, I love it. So what would you say the needs of Tampa are right now?
Well, we ask a lot about that to our community. We're in the middle of kicking off a new strategic plan. Well, I should say finalizing that strategic plan. And we asked the community, hey, what is it that are the biggest needs? Healthcare comes up all the time. Mental health resources, especially for teens and what they're dealing with. Drowning prevention programs, of course, because it continues to be a problem in our community. And battling food insecurity. There's food deserts all throughout our community where people don't have access to healthy foods, and the Y tries to play a role in solving all those issues.
Well, you guys are doing a great job. So coming up in the next half of the show, we're going to show some videos, but who are we meeting in the next half of the show?
Okay, we're meeting with a great colleague of mine, Dawn Kita. She really helps to provide leadership to all of our healthy living programs, chronic disease prevention programs. Now, a lot of people think of the YMCA and they think, no, it's kids playing sports, it's gym and swim. Some people might be exercising, but we have a whole division of our operation that focuses on preventing chronic disease, working with diabetes prevention, working with high blood pressure programs, managing Parkinson's, cancer survivor programs, all these different types of programs that really add to the quality of life for individuals who are dealing or could deal with chronic disease.
You know I use the word love a lot, but one of the reasons why I love this show so much is because I didn't even know that. You know, and as a journalist, I'm saying as a journalist, I didn't realize all of these separate opportunities or options that the YMCA offers.
Yeah, you know, we're a not-for-profit, we're a charity, but a lot of people don't know that because we don't operate like a typical, what you might call a typical charity. No, we have sustainable funding streams that help keep our YMCA moving. No, we charge for memberships, and that membership goes into reinvest. And every time we have a successful fiscal year, I don't get richer because of it. No, it gets reinvested back into back into the community. The YMCA, no, it's owned by the community. Our corporate board are the legal corporate entity of our organization. It's not me. So they entrust me to manage it on behalf of the community. And everything that we do gets reinvested right back into the immediate community. So even though we're not fully dependent on charitable contributions to provide our services. We do, a lot of the great things we do are reliant upon those charitable contributions of our community.
Well, you can clearly see how passionate you are about it because of the smile that you have on your face and your eyes light up.
Yeah,
when you talk about it.
The why is so many things to so many people. And that's why the other thing, I think a lot of people don't understand the why really that well because our services are so broad. We don't do just one thing. We don't just have one charitable mission. We serve so many different people, so many different parts of our population in so many different ways that until you're in our buildings and there for a while and part of the family, it's really tough to digest everything that we do.
Well, we're excited to learn more and introduce Don.
Absolutely.
So stay with us, everybody. We'll be back right after this.
Spring break. If it hasn't happened, it will happen. Here at Precision, I get the question of, can you fix this same day? All the time. Nobody wants to wait a few days to get their garage door fixed. The face that they make every time I say I can fix this right now is priceless. No, I'm not an actor.
Would I be a good actor? Well, I could probably do it. I mean, this face is made for the camera.
Precision Door Service, a name you can trust.
Oh man, I'm gonna regret that.
Hi everyone, I'm Serena Fazan and welcome back to On the Record. We're here with CEO Matt Michel of the YMCA, the Tampa organization, and we're inviting Don Kita to the studio. Don, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate being here.
Gosh, okay, so tell us what you do. I mean, Matt gave us an overview of what you do at the YMCA and why you're so passionate about it.
So I'm fortunate I get to work with our health programming. So the Y has kind of that fitness side that a lot of times people think of, right? I'm going to go and work out at the Y. But there's this whole other side with Americans now where we just need to be healthy, right? We're trying to control our blood pressure, we're trying not to get diabetes. 1 in 3 Americans will end up being diagnosed with cancer at some point in their lifetime. So we're trying to help people after that. We're really dealing with just getting through and being healthier. You know, with our active older adults, we want them to be able to tie their shoes, you know. So there's so much more than just fit. Now we're dealing with health.
I love that. And so we have some videos that you shared with us that I want to share now. So talk about the videos that we are seeing. We're seeing, and is it okay to call it the older, should we say the older population? Look how cute they are dancing.
Yeah, so our active older adults, we have all kinds of things they can do. As you can see here, they can do aqua fitness or aqua aerobics. They can come inside and they can do anything from AOA activities. They can do pickleball. They can do, there's pickleball right there.
Gosh,
they can do classes. We actually have a health program called Enhanced Fitness, which is for our active older adults. And that's actually to prevent falls and help them reduce their symptoms with arthritis. So we have that program. We're starting a new program called Healthy Steps for Older Adults, and that's to help them learn how to prevent falling within their homes and all of the other things that they can do. So we have all kinds of things for that.
No, it's great. And Matt, why were so many of the participants in the video wearing the LiveStrong and the Survivor shirts?
Sure, it's our cancer survivor program, and it's individuals. We all have someone in our lives, right, who had cancer, battled cancer, and some we know the results. Sometimes they don't. My father passed away from cancer.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right. He fought it well, But other people do make it through. And when you come home from battling cancer, your family's there telling you, "We love you. We're so happy you're here with us still. What can we do for you?" That's one thing, but to heal, sometimes it takes to be around people who went through that same battle that you did. And that's what the LiveStrong for Cancer Survivor program is at the YMCA, is putting people who've been through that same path together to be a resource for one another, to get back to having stamina, to being independent, and to doing things that you were doing prior to being diagnosed with cancer.
And to be able to share, you're right, share your individual stories. And Don, I mean, that statistic is startling that you've shared, that 1 in 3 people will be diagnosed with some type of cancer.
Personally, this year, 3 of my friends have been diagnosed with breast cancer in 2022. So, I mean, it is out there. The best thing about the LiveStrong program is we meet them where they are. So some people, maybe just finished their treatment. Other people are 5 years out. Wherever they are, we can meet them and help them get back to who they remember themselves as, right? Get their strength back, give them new support. When we do those intakes, a lot of times we will sit down one-on-one with them and ask them to tell us their story. And it's the first time most people have had to go back through, what was their journey with cancer. Most of the time, once you get through your treatment, everybody around you just kind of breathes a sigh of relief and it's over, but that person hasn't really had the opportunity to come to terms with what they went through. And so we give them that opportunity to do that and have that support of other people who've been through it to go and speak with them about it.
It's wonderful to be able to have a safe place like that, or a safe haven like that. Earlier in the show, we had a chance to talk to Matt about his personal journey coming to the YMCA. What brought you personally to the YMCA? There's always a story.
There is a story. I was a school teacher up in Delaware, and I was taking classes at the Y, and I moved down here and kind of looked one day as I was teaching and decided I wanted to become a group exercise instructor. I thought, let me do this and help people become a little bit more in shape and fit. And then one day when I was teaching, I looked around and we were in a staff meeting, and I thought, wow, everybody here looks so unhealthy. They're not taking care of themselves. And I thought, this isn't the path for me. And I want to help other people to change their path. And so I ended up working at a Y and eventually becoming a wellness director and membership director and all those kinds of great things. But about 6 years ago, I just kept dreaming that I could have a position dealing with LiveStrong more, dealing with diabetes prevention more. I would sit in meetings and think, I want that person's job, but without that side of things, right? And so this role came into being, and I jumped on it because this is my passion. I want people to be healthy and be able to live more comfortably, without as many medications and things like that.
And part of that is the way you eat too, right? Because we have some more video that you shared with food trucks, I believe. So what is that about?
So we have the veggie van, and our veggie van, many people in Hillsborough County live in food insecurity, live in an area where it's called a food desert, where they don't have the opportunity to walk to a grocery store. The closest place to them might be a convenience store or fast food, something that's not going to give them a lot of opportunities to get fresh fruits and vegetables. And so the veggie van goes out into those communities and allows them to have access to that in a way that they wouldn't have otherwise. We know that people don't lean towards grabbing vegetables, right? In general, that's not what the average American is going to go and grab as their first food. But if we can give it to them at low or no cost, it makes it much more enticing and something that you're much more likely to take in then. And we know that we have to have those fruits and vegetables for our bodies. They need the nutrients. They need just the fluids and the water that you get from that. So having the veggie van makes that possible for people.
Can I just say, Dawn, just sitting here too on the record, that looking at you, you're inspiring me to go on a run tonight or something, because I love seeing people that take care of themselves. So Matt, as you hear Dawn speak, here you are, and again, humility aside, the CEO, this is one of your ambassadors, someone who is relaying your message to the community. What is going through your mind and heart right now?
Just like I said earlier, how the YMCA impacts so many people in so many different ways. It's not just teaching the kids sports, and it's not just having someone on a treadmill, and even all those things. We teach kids sports, but at the end of the day, for us, youth sports is just a tool to help a young person develop their character. It's all about getting a kid out of their comfort zone, so they have to grow socially. How do you make new friends? That's what summer camp is all about too, right? Is teaching kids new skills and making new friends and just gaining confidence of not, when you get off the couch and get outside, there's a whole new set of skills to survive than there is when you're in there and your mother or father is making you food. When you have to start to kind of, just grow individually, and YMCA programs do that for so many. All these senior programs that we saw on television, that's a part of it. They're being active and getting healthy, but it's also their point of socializing for the day sometimes.
Yes.
It's the one place where where our seniors where our grandparents have friends, where they have conversation, face-to-face conversation, in person. So I think about this. I think about the veggie van. People in Waimama line up around the corner when the veggie van shows up because we're bringing sustenance to them, and how they come to rely on the YMCA for that one part of living a healthy lifestyle. Even though it's just one small part, it's important to helping them grow in health, as Dawn said. So I think when Dawn's talking, I think about all those things. I think about all the things that we do. I don't want to say behind the curtain, but the residual effects of all these programs that we have is really a stronger community. And it's not just kids, it's not just seniors, it's families and everybody throughout Tampa.
The word that I was thinking of too, and you used residual, which is so true, was the domino effect. Like, you do one thing that you feel really positive about that automatically, I think, relays into something else.
Sure.
To make yourself feel better. Okay, so I would be remiss, though, if I did not ask this question. For some people who have said, oh, gosh, the YMCA is such a male-dominated organization. I know that, there was a lot. It's not. I mean, it is for everybody. You both can weigh in on that.
Yeah, I mean, we actually our staff team skews female. But it is for everybody. People think of the YMCA sometimes as the dormitories for traveling businessmen and things like that. But no, that kind of started to die down in the late 70s and 80s, and health and wellness really started to take its hold on the real important role that our organization played in the overall well-being of our country. And so it is a mix. My first YMCA that I worked at had everybody in it, from the partner and CEO of large companies to the college student who could barely put food on their table, or the borderline homeless individual who lived down the street. It was such a mix of men and women and people from all walks of life who came together to get healthier. And all those different people, no other place in that city would they have, spotted each other or worked out together or been in the same class or been in the same swimming pool or been in the same locker room than a YMCA. I have a great story about a board member in Milwaukee who once was, he wasn't a board member, he was a community volunteer. And there was talk about, hey, because the YMCA is the Young Men's Christian Association. Is that kind of exclusive, or does it really mean that you're welcoming everybody with having that terminology? And this was a Jewish man from New York, and he said, when I was a kid, the only place in our city where a black kid and a white kid, a Jewish kid, could all be in the swimming pool, it was a YMCA in the Bronx, And he goes,
wow.
that's the only place you got that experience as a young person. That integration of people didn't happen anywhere else but there. And so, those are Christian values that inspire that.
That literally gave me goosebumps. I mean, I'm so happy you shared that story.
And there's stories like that, 1,000 times over from people that they had with the YMCA. Most everybody has a Y story.
Yeah,
You have one, and Dawn has one. I have one myself, and hopefully people watching have one too.
I know, absolutely. So Don, how about for you? You know, like how do you feel about it? And are there certain you're doing your dream job now, as you said, but are there certain programs that you would like to see, or what is the message you would like to get across?
The message that I like to get across is that when you really become a part of the Y, you will have a second family, an extended family. So I've seen that when I worked at the Northwest Y for a decade or so. Those people do become family. As Matt was saying, with our senior population, you know, if one of them passes away, they're all going to be at the funeral, or if somebody's ill, they're doing food trains. Same thing with LiveStrong alumni groups. Somebody gets re-diagnosed, they're going to have a food train to help that person while they're going through. So I think for me, the big story is just, you know, get into your Y and get active in it, because that will become your community, your second family. It can be very powerful when you let it.
So beautifully said. So Matt, as we close out the show, what is the best way to find out which Y is close to you? Is it online? Or
Definitely online, tampaymca.org. And it's the best way to go on and look where you can participate. And the great thing about the YMCA is that there's reciprocity across the country. So if you're a member here in Tampa and you happen to be doing a show in Atlanta, you go in and use a YMCA if you're a member. And you know, there's lots of YMCA facilities all across Tampa Bay, and St. Pete and Clearwater, New Tampa, South Tampa, Riverview, Gibsonton. Great resources across Brandon and throughout Tampa Bay for you to get involved. So tampaymca.org, and that's the best place to go and see where we're all at.
Wonderful. And on the record, I do want to take the show on the road. So that's great to know.
There you go.
And speaking of that, guys, all right, if you want to be on the show, please reach out to us, or even just come up and introduce yourself to me. I mean, look, right, Matt Michel? Didn't it work?
Worked out really good, yeah.
I love people. But if you want to send an idea, please send it to production@redhousestreaming.com. We have such a great team here. And also, we would so appreciate if you would share our shows. We try to really share positive messages. I'm on every social media platform. Don, Matt Michel, thank you so much for coming on the record.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Have a great week, everybody, and stay safe.